I'm Lilian Sjöberg, a Danish coach and troubleshooter, and I'm very good at seeing patterns. I have a master in biology, and I have studied how to help people with Parkinson's disease from a very practical perspective for more than 5 years now. Hundreds of years ago, we all lived in tribes, and like herd animals, survived due to our instincts. Our brain and body produce information in a heartbeat and often decide to put us in survival states. We may react with these survival instincts to sensory inputs, shadows, sounds, and tactile stimulations. Dopamine and adrenaline are essential in this process. After an alert, our brain makes the subconscious decision to fight, flight, or freeze. Eventually, after seconds, minutes, or hours, we return to a calm state again where normal body functions take over. That is, for example, digestion, cell division, reproduction, and memory. Better safe than sorry. We can observe the animal world to understand more. Meerkats in the desert, for example, where alarms are constantly shouted over the herd, induce flight to the safety of the burrows, and then recovery, re-emergent for play and hunting food. This process is repeated many times a day. Better to alarm one time too many than risk death. Humans are similar, wired for moving back and forth between our survival instincts and calm state. We're just not very aware of this, and being in a modern society and disconnected from a tribe is masking this awareness even further. Yet, it remains the case that a healthy person still goes in and out of instinctual survival state many times a day. The problem is that today, when our survival instincts are triggered, we often cannot complete the process because running away or fighting is not an option. So the adrenaline lingers in the body for hours, days, and weeks, preventing us from returning to 100% healthy, normal body function. This, combined with a lack of many hours of hard physical work with recreation in front of the television, it's not helping. It's slowly trapping us in bodies that give us all kinds of symptoms. The nature of the stressors has also changed. Instead of the tiger, it is things like the terrible divorce, the lousy task at work, or the angry teenagers, which are the root cause for our body going into the survival instincts. In combination with most people sitting still too long daily, stress can now load our bodies with permanent chemical cocktails of adrenaline and cortisol. The symptoms emerge and become a new normal. Each person gets their unique cocktail of symptoms. Being in a half-working body too long can lead to all sorts of symptoms. An analogy is driving a car with more semi-flat tires on the left side all the time. We can drive, but side effects in the shock absorber and steering mechanism will slowly emerge. We can maybe change some spare parts, but the flat tires are the natural root cause, and if we don't address this, more problems will occur. Star pictures are for stars what diagnoses are to symptoms. It's a grouping made by humans. The stars and the symptoms do not care. Right now, we divide the symptoms into diagnosis of chronic diseases, but the root cause is the same. Some sets of symptoms lead to the medical diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, but we can connect the dots between the signature symptoms and the survival instincts. So we can also call it the long-term effect of staying in survival instincts for too long time a day. To help shake off the gloom about this, I call our survival instincts our superpowers, because it's a more resourceful way to look at the body and the problems we might be experiencing. Try saying, "Thank you, body, for keeping me safe, but now it's time to bring me out of the safe survival state and back to the normal range of health and growth." This ought to give us a little more faith in the dispositions of our body. Fight, flight, and freeze are the most potent superpowers, but not all, that can help us survive. Our instincts can lock the body down 100% to avoid a dangerous situation known as death-defying or playing possum in the animal kingdom. Things in modern life from which we cannot escape cause us to go into this type of survival instincts, but we seldom finish the cycle to recovery. We become trapped in intermediate states that can lead to the permanent symptoms after long term. So the first signature symptoms of Parkinson's disease, called freeze, correspond closely to that what happens when someone is frozen stiff by their survival instincts. If we are predicted to contemplate this, it is straightforward to see that these have the same biological roots and physical manifestations. Old items tell us about this shutdown of the body. For example, to be frozen in fear. My blood froze, my blood ran cold. The second signature symptom of Parkinson's disease is tremor. Tremor can be due to the body tensing up to prepare for the fight or flight, or releasing of tension when the danger has passed. So this symptom too is also found in the survival instinct, especially in going in and out of survival mode. Old items tell us about this also. For example, shaking like a leaf, knees are knocking, shaking in my boots. The third signature symptom, called stiffness, that people with Parkinson's disease experience, is also a superpower, which we can discuss in another video. The fluctuation in degree of symptoms is then related to calmness or a semi-instinctual states. With a lack of nuanced vocabulary, we say the increase in these symptoms is stress-related, but it's more complex. We often hear how people with Parkinson's display increased symptoms in person-specific situations, such as going to the bathroom, crossing a road, being in a crowd, or queuing at a cashier, where a tiny signal triggers the survival instincts and puts the person with Parkinson's body on pause to ensure survival. It can become a pattern as the triggers are enforced several times, so it gets easier and easier to get caught in this instinct pattern. Again, we can look to the animal kingdom for evidence of this theory. Dog trainers know that a dog shivering or trembling occurs when the creature is experiencing too many stressors in a short time and needing to relax in between tense situations. Farmers also know this problem arises in domesticated animals which cannot complete the cycle of survival instincts because they have nowhere to run or hide. The same goes with humans. That is, when we cannot escape from a bully nor fight with an unfair manager. We too can get stuck in stressful situations and start tremoring. In tense situations like eating at a restaurant, talking to strangers, trying out new activities, more tremoring can occur and nervousness or excitement builds up. A situation like a soccer game on television can bring a tremor forward for a person with Parkinson's. Although there's no real threat inside, the excitement of wanting to join the game and fight alongside a favorite team also release adrenaline. I helped a man with Parkinson's disease evaluate when to shut off the television to prioritize a good night's sleep. He got into an excited tremor state due to his favorite team's soccer games. After a good match, adrenaline lingered for hours in his body and made sleep impossible. He got punished with many symptoms the next day, which was not in the line with his job. He ended up quitting his job, and he found it was also a root cause in giving him tremor in stressful situations. We can demonstrate the increase in tremoring due to going into survival instincts in real time by stressing a person with Parkinson out by shouting at them. However, this is hardly ethical. Instead, we can turn toward videos records from history. Every war had victims that exhibit symptoms due to getting stuck in their survival instincts, especially in the First World War, where all people, young and old, were enrolled in the fighting. We can, on YouTube, find several recorded videos. Just look at the link in the text or search for shell shock and World War I. This shows us the physical manifestation of the impact of getting stuck in extreme instincts. In this case, we call it shell shock. Apparently, 15% of people in the war manifested symptoms due to staying long-term in the potent powers of survival instincts. The historical videos show a variety of movement disorders, manifesting including paralysis and tremor, and people even went blind and deaf due to events that did not physically touch the body and person at all. Even office people that knowingly sent their comrades into their deaths could show symptoms of being trapped in their instincts. Shell shocks and PTSD can occur in young people exposed to a short period of terrible fear like a war. However, more subtle and prolonged episodes can impact us too. I have heard stories of symptoms arising due to a very stress-related job, being a witness to accident involving a death, seeing parents fighting with knives, living in a house that was close to demolition, being hit by violent parents on a daily basis. The earlier the episode, the more insignificant it can look to a grown-up. A playful dog that knocked over a toddler, siblings teasing each other, a father hitting a child once as a punishment, being in an early theater play that didn't went well, misunderstanding grown-ups talking about serious matters, parents demanding high standards for how to perform. We can go in and out of instincts on a daily basis for many small or large reasons. For example, due to a crow flying into our window, the mailman bringing bad news, our children getting a divorce, or if it's a long-lasting problem, it can hold us in our instincts for hours, weeks, and months. For some people, we find that they have encountered enough subtle or terrible episodes during a lifetime that this can sum up and result in the manifestation of a conglomerate of stress symptoms unique to that person. In summary, it's not just animals and people in history who experience the triggering of the instincts every day. And modern society is doing this to us in new and subtle ways which we may not be aware of. Unfortunately, the medical system is not very aware of this connection between symptoms and stress. This might be because they are focused on imbalances of chemicals in the brain and on trying to cure the disease by fixing this problem. Personally, I don't believe we can ever fully understand what's happening at the cellular level in the brain. since no simple formula or three-dimensional model can give us the understanding of the multifacets of what's happening at that level. Indeed, 100 years of brain studies have not brought us much closer to a solution, so why not clear the table and take another approach? Instead, we have the overview of our knowledge of animal behavior, observation from history, and the real-life experience of people with Parkinson's. And with these, we can arrive with practical things they can do to help themselves. We will discuss these strategies in future videos, but here's a brief overview. You can do strenuous exercise to burn off the adrenaline. We can do natural activities to support mindfulness. You can learn activities that provoke the mindful state. You can do a reduction in the root cause that brings on the instincts. For faster progress, get help and support from skilled people. With ongoing work, 1 to 2 years from now, one will see enormous progress. Remember, it took time to develop this disease and will therefore likely take a similar amount of time to get out of the instinctual patterns. The effort is always worth it when the alternative is rapid generation. I want you to help me share this knowledge. I can't do it alone, and we need a lot of people to push on this snowball of information if we should help a lot of people. So your contribution to this is very important. Do you want to the whole world of diseased people to stay in ignorance and in the dark, or should we start helping a lot of people? I can tell you that even that Parkinson's disease is the most easiest to see the connection with fight, flight, and freeze. A lot of the other chronic diseases as well have got this pattern, because when I help people, I can often help them to a state where one or more symptoms are close to zero. That alone is a small proof that, of course, they can become better by introducing more calm in their daily day, because that's all I can do. I have clients around the globe, in Australia and New York, US, London, Canada, and all I can do on this distance is help people to get more relaxed. So please help me spread the news, and if you really want to support more and support my work so I can do it full time, then maybe a fund is also good. Have a good day.